What is up, YouTube? TradeModeJames here, coming at you with another Microvision weekly recap video. Let's get right into it. All right, I have my daily time frame pulled up on mvis, stock ticker mvis, and right now what you're seeing is some TA that I've done on this chart, and we're gonna talk about it right now. But before I do that, guys, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell to get notified when I go live, and please hit that like button or the dislike button if you don't like me. It is what it is. But all that helps me, so make sure you guys do those three things, and we're gonna jump into this right now. So what we have here on Microvision, guys, is a descending wedge on the daily time frame, and we have our pivot points pulled up here. Now, if we look at this pivot point closely, you're gonna see that this, if I draw a line here on this pivot point, all right, going across my screen, you're gonna see that that is basically the base of this candle, pretty close to it. All right, and a lot of times these demand zones and these supply zones have some variance in them. It's not always as pinpoint accurate as other times. All right, like here, like we came in the demand zone, we just jumped out. We came in the demand zone, we jumped out. I can show you other spots on the chart where there was a demand zone where there was some variance. You know, here's one. I just see one right here. I'll just draw it in for you guys. All right, we see one here. All right, there's a demand zone right here. This is pretty rough, but you see, even if I zoom here on the chart, you see that we had some variance here. It actually came down and then went back up here. Pretty far below, actually. So the bottom of this zone was 1296. We went down to 1218 before we ripped up. And even here, there was a little bit of variance in this demand zone as well. But this one went down to about 1279 and then went up. So there is sometimes some variance in these zones. But all you can do is find the areas where the banks are moving the money. And they do that when retail traders are selling. They buy. When retail traders are buying, they sell. That's how they manipulate the market and liquidate your account. So all you can do is find the zones where they have done this in the past and hope to God they do it again. That's really all you can do. When you're following the banks, that's what you can do. We know this is a zone that in the past they have shifted the market out from the trend and moved it to the upside, and they make money either way, guys. They make money when they move it down, they make money when they move it up. Your job is to find those zones where they do this at, and 975 to 1035 is one of their zones. Now, we are in this descending wedge also. You got to keep that in mind. We are in a descending wedge here, and that is one of those things that in the past, this is actually was not correct. Now it is. In the past, they have broken out to the upside. We've just had that happen multiple times where we've been in a descending wedge situation and we've broken out to the upside every single time. All right, now, not only are we in a descending wedge that we have not broken yet, but we have not closed below 975. I told you guys in my last video, unless we close below 975, there's nothing to talk about as far as an overall sentiment of the market shifting. We're still in a bullish market. Now, even if we do close below that 975, we still have that variance with the S1 right here. There could be some variance in price and in this zone, but we have this S1 right here. These pivot points are respected. If you look at them, they are typically respected. I mean, right here, you see this was respected, this pivot, this R1. Down here, this S1 right here, respected. And even here, this was respected, but it did inevitably go down. But they are respected for the most part. And, we have that last level. Now, if we break and close below this wedge, and we break and close below this S1, and we break and close below that demand zone 975, then there's likely gonna be some downside, guys. I don't know how far down it can go. We do have some walls down here, around 850. We gotta, we can talk about that on the next week's video, if and when that happens. I don't wanna get too deep into that right now, because we still have support here. We still have a way for us to bounce out of this zone. We have not closed below this zone, and until it happens, I don't really wanna be talking about what could happen in the future and walls down here that don't really matter right now, because right now price is still in that bank zone. It's still inside that descending wedge, and we still have this big S1 on the daily time frame. Not only that, if we pull up our RSI for the daily, guys, you'll see that we're oversold, 29.5 on the RSI. That is indicating to you that price is getting ready to shift. That's just that, that's an indicator, and that a lot of times it can, stay around that, number for a while. But you see mvis likes to just fall out when it's overbought, and it likes to go up when it's oversold. And that's just what happens. Very obvious moves here when RSI is overbought and oversold. Now, that's not something you should just be trading off of. You need to have a bunch of tools in your arsenal, but that is an indicator to me that price is ready to move to the upside because it is officially oversold as of today. All right, and as of a couple days, actually, it's been oversold for a few days with some slight variance in there. But guys, we have a lot of stuff going for us. We got to look at, the stock as a whole. Sumit Sharma, all right, listen to me. Sumit Sharma took shares over cash. To me, that's enough. If he took as many shares as he did instead of cash, instead of whatever, to me, that's bullish. If he didn't see future value in doing that, he wouldn't have done it. Neither would have Saval Oz. They would not be taking shares instead of money if they did not believe that those shares were going to be making them money in the future and be worth more than they were when they took them. That's illogical to me. To me, it's illogical to think that they would take shares if they didn't know something. Now, he's the CEO of the company. If the CEO of the company doesn't know that there's implied value, he's not going to take shares as payment. He's just not. It doesn't make sense, in my opinion. All right, now I could be wrong. I'm not the most business savvy person. And, like I said, I've only been trading stocks for about a year and a half, a little over a year and a half now. But in my mind, if I was Sumit Sharma, if I was the CEO of a company and I decided, hey, I'm going to take shares instead of money, I would need to feel confident that those shares would be worth more than the money they're offering me now in the future. And I think for that reason, that's one of the main reasons I'm still bullish on this, is because of his average price and how many shares he actually took. All right, so like I said, price action wise, guys, they're obviously ladder attacking this thing. It's very obviously being manipulated and attacked. There's no reason for this stock to be going down. It doesn't make sense. And also the lack of communication between management and shareholders, that is typically something that happens when there's something going on in the background that they can't or won't talk about for whatever reason. If you look at other companies in the past, I've researched this, you can go do this yourself. A lot of times they go silent, they go dark before something big happens. That's just the way it works. We have not had PR in like 4 months. All right, since like the Microvision or the Microsoft thing, and even then, that wasn't anything really to do with us. So like I said, we've had no PR, we've had really just dead silence. They've just been kind of going through the motions, with the ECs and the shareholder meetings and the IAA, all that stuff. I mean, they've just been going through the motions. Now, they're not defending the volatility. To me, that's huge, because if they were continuing as Microvision, if they were trying to continue as a company, as Microvision, they would be needing shareholders. They need new investors, and they need us, basically, essentially, right? Because if there's no merger, there's no buyout, there's no acquisition, there's no any kind of deal on the table. They need the shareholders. They would be defending this volatility. They'd be putting out PR. They'd be putting out whatever they can to keep people interested. But they're not doing that. That, in my opinion, is because there's something in the works behind the scenes that you and I do not and will not know about until they release the news about it. All right, that's just my opinion. I can't prove that, but that's just what it looks like. Otherwise, it just seems like they would be defending the volatility, and they'd be defending their stock and their share price and their technology if there wasn't something like that going on. So like I said, as far as price action goes, we might have some downside before something happens. It's possible. Anything is possible. And these zones are not guaranteed. But like I said, you look in the past, you look to the left. If you're not looking left, you're not looking right. The banks have moved the share price to the upside out of the zone. I mean, you can see it right here. 1, 2, big rips out of this zone. 3, actually. So like I said, we have a lot of things going for us, and until we break and close below this S1, really, and even if we close below 975, we still have a few levels we still have this big support S1 here. So until we close below this S1, which is basically 935, I'm not going to be too worried about the share price, and even then, I'm still not, because I'm long on this thing. I'm holding this no matter what. We could drop down to $1.50. I'm still holding. I'm not selling for a loss on the stock, because I know that in the future, at some point, this will be worth a lot of money. Now, if you look at this too, guys, a year ago, basically 1 year ago, we were trading at $1.50. Oh, I had to take a breath when I saw that. $1.50 a year ago. We are still up a lot, guys, a lot. If you got in back in November 2020, you're freaking killing it right now. You're still killing it. All right, and if we look at the monthly time frame, or the weekly time frame, we're still really around that golden zone off the beginning of this move. We're still right around that golden zone. Now, we have closed below the 50 SMA on the weekly, which is not great. It's not good, but on the weekly time frame even, we could potentially even get back above that S1 on the weekly, or the R1, I'm sorry. This is the R1 support, this orange line on the weekly. We have closed below that, but we could bounce and get back above that, on Monday. It could happen. That's not that far up there. That's, what is that, 10:05? So, and you see in the past, we've bounced off that R1 in the past, right here, boom, 1, boom, 2. So we bounced off that R1 before. We could easily get back up in that demand zone to the top side and, have a move happen there. That's all speculation, all right? But I just want you guys to know there are still confirmations here that we are looking at a reversal here pretty soon. All right, we're oversold on the daily. We're still in the golden zone, roughly on the weekly and the monthly. We're in a descending wedge. That's a bullish setup. We're in a demand zone that they've moved the money from in the past. We have that S1 on the daily. All right, right down here for support, right at the base of this green candle, this big peak right here when this went up to 922 or 925, whatever, 935, I'm sorry. But we have not closed below 975 yet. So like I said, there's a lot of things here that still give me hope for the short-term price action. But for the long-term, guys, if you're just holding long, yeah, it sucks to be in the red. It sucks to, you know, have the stock doing what it's doing. But keep this in mind. We know we hold. If you invested for the right reasons, then none of this really matters. It sucks, but it doesn't matter because you know what you hold and you know that this is just going to be a money printing machine at some point. They're going to have something happen at some point, guys. All right, they're not just going to get delisted. Something is going to happen at some point, and we already know what happens when even the slightest news revolving the stock happens. Like, everyone jumps in, and I think we're getting near that point. All right, no PR in 4 months. I mean, it's just obvious that it feels like something is brewing. It feels like it. All right, they're not defending any of this. It just feels very, very like calm before the storm. That's the way it feels to me. So, like I said, guys, keep your heads up. If you're long on this, yeah, I would just suggest holding through it. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just a retail trader just like you. And I do have a fundamental understanding of price action and supply and demand. So for those reasons, I'm still holding this. If I thought this company was going under, it didn't have any futuristic value, implied value, I would not be in it, and I definitely wouldn't be holding long through all these dips. I would just get out of it. But I still have conviction because I invested for the right reasons, and I know what I hold, right? I know there's only a few LiDAR companies, and we have best in class. So I know that in the future, I don't know when, but in the future, at some point, this stock is going to boom. It's going to moon, and we're going to be sitting here thinking, oh man, remember when it was at 990 and we almost sold? Yeah, no. You're going to really miss out on some good profits here if you sell right now, because I'm telling you, the banks buy where retail traders are selling. They buy at wholesale prices. All right, so if retail traders are selling at 990, and you know everyone's like, oh my God, look at this big downtrend. I mean, if you were going to sell, you should have sold up here. You don't sell down here once the dip already happened. That doesn't make any sense, because this is where the banks are buying. They wait for it to come down to their zone, and then they get in and they ride it to the top side. It's just that simple. So you got to be following the banks, not the retail traders. All right, so keep that in mind when you're looking at supply and demand, and know that right now we are in a demand zone. All right, I promise you. You just got to look to the left to see that. All right, so keep your heads up, guys. That's all I have for you right now. Really, there's not much else to talk about until we get below 975 and below that S1. And even then, we have some walls down here around, like I said, 850-ish, you know, somewhere around there. So everything's going to be fine, in my opinion. And like I said, long-term, this stock is going to be a money printing machine, in my opinion. And, you know, it is what it is right now. We got to wait and see what price wants to do early, mid, late next week. And I'm excited to do another video, hopefully on the bounce here, all right? Make sure you hit that subscribe button, guys, if you haven't done that. If you like my content, hit that notification bell to get notified when I go live, and hit that like button if you like me, you like my channel, you like my content. If not, hit the dislike button. It's fine. It is what it is, all right? That's all I have for you today, guys. Peace and love from my end. TradeModeJames signing out. Microvision to the moon, baby. Peace.